Welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast, your number one opinion source for all things entertainment. Join host Marco Mazzola as he sounds off on the latest movies, TV, music, gaming, comic books, and more. Now, here's the man of the hour, Marco Mazzola.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast. I am, as always, your host, Marco Mazzola. Welcome to today's show. We're going to talk about everything Eternals. Probably be a quick episode, but let's welcome to the podcast. Go around the table the other way this time, and welcome Bruno.
Hey.
And Larry.
Hey.
And Mila.
Hey.
All right, the gang is here again. Again, we're going to talk about the MCU movie, The Eternals. Quite a large cast.
One of the best movies I've ever seen.
Well, there it is. There's Mila's review. I think we all saw that bullshit coming down the pike. I think we all saw that bullshit coming. Don't forget, she loves the Tumblr. So, let's just...
Of course. As someone who personally thinks the Tumblr is the best vehicle I've ever seen, this is it.
I mean, it's dynamic.
Let's just take
Mila just leans into it now so hard.
I gotta appreciate that.
Why not? All right, so it came out last year. It's got a runtime of 2 hours and 36 minutes.
I want that time back.
Yes, it's 2 hours, 36 minutes of your life you're not getting back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
So if you haven't seen it, obviously it's spoiled itself, but we'll spoil it some more and talk about the movie. All right. Let's go through the saga of the Eternals, a race of immortals beings who lived on Earth and shaped its history and civilizations.
Yes.
And that's the overall, right?
I love the concept of that. That sounds really like a really cool concept. They just didn't do it right.
Yes. Right, so it's following the events of Avengers Endgame, right? An unexpected tragedy forces the Eternals, ancient aliens who have been living on Earth in secret for thousands of years, out of the shadows to reunite against mankind's most ancient enemy, the Deviants, which we've heard nothing of before until this movie.
Yep.
So this movie falls super flat, right? But why? So in my opinion, you're looking at a movie that the MCU was like, you know what? We just crushed it, and we want to keep this train going. So what do? How about the Eternals? Okay, great. But then they were like, well, how come the Eternals didn't get involved when Thanos was doing it? How come the Eternals didn't get involved?
Too.
Yeah,
they
trying
did
to justify
because they had to address it.
Yeah, they had to justify it, absolutely. Because it's bullshit. It's the same way they had to justify why Captain Marvel didn't come down and whoop some ass prior to the end of Endgame.
Right. Yeah, and none of it made sense. It was a poor justification, and it was stupid. So if obviously there are going to be spoilers in here, but the reason that they give is because their
job is to not interfere with human.
No, but they're also told not to interrupt
wars.
The wars.
The wars, right?
Because
but if
the
you
wars
look at,
help the population.
But if you look at
the planet thrive,
it helps the population by developing technology, and technology accelerated their growth, right?
Right.
So,
which is basically what the Eternals need, right? The big Celestials need
that's the word
to be able to
for.
Create a new Celestial.
So here's my issue: if you need greater population in order for the Celestial to be born, why would it be okay to wipe out half of them? Right?
That's
allow Thanos to wipe out half of the civilization,
literally,
but not just on Earth, across the whole universe.
Yeah,
right.
Like, you'd think you'd want to stop that,
it's
right?
not just Earth he's fucking up for the Celestials. He's fucking up any planet they wanted to use.
Yeah. So none of that makes any sense.
You might want to take the bald-chinned idiot out before you do that.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh, that was a really poor justification.
Yeah.
They should have either changed universes or made it a different, or I don't know, maybe have this be pre MCU, current, Thanos. I don't know. I don't know what they could have done, but I thought it was a really bad justification.
Yeah, it's weak. It's weak sauce for justification.
I think that one of what makes this bad is before this movie, nobody.
An episode about this movie.
Yeah,
as you can tell.
Nobody knew who the hell the Eternals were. Like they were never mentioned.
Yeah,
ever.
But same thing with Guardians. Guardians were super peripheral
but yet they crushed
and they crushed it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about do we know about them or anything? Like you can make any movie successful.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
But they could. I think the story was weak. I think it was weak.
For me, it's like there were also like issues with some of the characters for me. Like there were a couple characters that I were like, oh, I love this guy or girl, but like some of the like main people like Cersei and stuff like that, I was like, okay.
I think part of that is that it's a huge cast of characters, and even in 2.5 hours, how do you service them all?
Yeah, there's no character development.
There's none.
Some of them died.
None. We could use
they die. They get sad stuff happen to them. But I'm like, okay.
We could have made 4 episodes just out of their flashbacks alone, right, Larry? So,
Larry.
All right, we can make a few episodes just out of their flashbacks and get some more backstory on them.
I would actually be okay with those.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. There's
if it makes me
this should have been a miniseries, right? It shouldn't have been a movie.
Yeah.
It should have been an Amazon or should have been
it should have been a series.
But no, it's true. There's so many characters.
It doesn't work as a movie.
There's too many to develop.
There's too many characters just to do it's not a short movie. It's 2.5 hours, but to do a movie on it.
So why didn't they do what they did with the whole, the original 20 movies that they like one at a time and develop them and whatever, like go on. And then at the end,
team, right?
You throw them all together.
But they're already a team. The Eternals are already a team.
They're created as a group, so that kind of retcons that idea.
I know.
But I think a Disney Plus show would have been a lot better.
This should have been a show, in my opinion. This should have been a show. This did not work and never was going to work as a movie.
It should have been a couple seasons, and you could have really developed them, and taken the time and grown the story.
Because some of the characters I really thought like could have been interesting, but then never really panned out to be interesting.
No. And I think the overall story with the Celestials and creating new Celestials through a planet, it's kind of a weak story, and it doesn't really. I don't really see how it's going to. Who gives a shit later on coming down the pike with the other MCU films? How it's gonna. Nobody's gonna. Other than the fact that now the Earth has a Celestial sticking the fuck out of it. Like a turd.
Can we talk just basic physics here? I understand that we're dealing with a superhero universe. Okay, so there's suspension of disbelief in a lot of the things.
Yeah, the people can fly and run really fast and create. Yeah, absolutely.
I lost it
because the planet would be fucked up completely beyond recognition if this thing was sticking out of it.
There's
and it would
so
not be
many
spinning
things
anymore.
There are so many things, right?
Stuff like that bugs the crap out of me.
In itself and around the sun
would be
completely.
What? Oh,
did you see?
He half emerged. Was
yes, that's the point. He half emerged out of the Earth. The Earth would have been so fucked up it would stop spinning in the right way. And did anybody see Neil deGrasse Tyson when he talks about that? If the Earth stopped spinning for even a second, we'd all die. If you aren't seatbelted to the Earth, you'd be fucked up because Earth spins 800 miles an hour eastward, 1,000
right? Miles on the
1,000 miles right. And so if you were there and it stopped, you would shoot at that speed across. Because you're traveling with it. So if you're not buckled to it, you'd fuck up. You'd be gone.
I don't think the Eternal would make that stop spinning.
No, we're not stop spinning, but spin the fucker.
It would slow things down.
It would mess things up. It would mess up
like your tire. If something's in the tire, how it fucks up the rotation and makes your tire wobble.
Yeah.
Now this thing with his hand and half a head is sticking out. The rotation's not the same anymore. It's not.
You're
gonna
lose fall or something.
It's not the sphere that can rotate evenly. It's wobbling. It's gonna start to wobble.
Like the tilting.
We're gonna wobble right out of rotation around the sun.
Yeah.
It would be gone.
I mean, it would have been
messed up.
There's so many issues there, right? So my issue is like, all right, they didn't address any of that. Essentially, they just skirted around it, and
Right.
I think that's bad writing.
It is because, when you're saying you have comic book characters and they're flying and doing all this bullshit, that's fine, but the Earth is still the Earth. And it is still bound by its normal physics and laws.
Right.
And you're changing that.
Yeah,
you want me to disbelieve the Earth's rotation and how it rotates around the sun.
Yeah.
And that it wouldn't be completely fucked up and fly out into the universe. Because it's no longer on the same axis anymore.
Space physics in movies, I'm always touchy about it. I'm like, come on,
the fact that there's light around the spaceships and you can hear them shooting. You can hear things like in Star Wars.
Subtle stuff like that, it bugs me.
But you can have to do that because otherwise it's a 2-hour quiet movie.
Yeah.
It's just
pretty boring.
It's pretty boring. You have to do that. Larry looks really perplexed. Larry, go ahead.
No, so I'm sorry. I'm trying to find something. I'd heard before that they're going to tie in the Eternals somehow because Thanos'
brother shows up, yeah.
Well, yeah, his brother shows up at the end. But they are of the Celestials.
Yeah.
Right. So I was just trying to see like what the family tree is.
Well, they're the
Yeah, I'm about
Eternals.
to say. So where did he come from? How is he Thanos' brother?
Are you talking about the cutscene at the end?
Yeah, he's
oh
about
yeah.
to Titan.
We're jumping right to the
Yeah,
end.
so that's what it is. I mean, they're
Why not?
Titans. The Titans come from
Because the
the.
other 2.5 hours before that was just bullshit. So you might as well just jump to the end.
Yeah. So how?
So
how?
Titans come from. So basically,
He's not purple.
no, he's
No,
you're right. He's not.
They explain that not all of them are.
Yeah. So think of. So this is an absolute ripoff of Greek mythology.
Right.
So
Yeah.
think of that.
I got that from like Eros, Athena.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those were.
Right.
Yeah.
But so like if you look at the mythology, it's
Well, they actually said that Greek mythology came from the Eternals. Like,
Well, yeah,
they
like
know
that-
they
that-
were-
the way
I
that-
think that was
how-
one of the cooler things about it was the
Yeah,
fact that,
that was
they
cool.
influenced like mythology. I thought
stories and stuff like that,
I thought
yeah.
that was one of the cooler parts of
Yeah.
the movie.
Yeah.
Was stuff like that.
was
Like
funny. They were like the
Athena,
Sprite
right?
wrote that story.
Wrote
after-
the Kid Icarus
wrote the
riding-
Icarus story. Yeah.
flying too close to the sun.
Yeah.
So basically, what it is Eros and is that his name?
Eros, yeah.
I could
yeah,
never.
yeah.
I never
The
liked this
god of
character anyway.
love, I believe.
Yeah, that was
The-
part of him.
Eros.
Yeah.
He's Titans. He comes from the Celestials. The Celestials come from the. I mean, I'm sorry. They are born from the Eternals. The Eternals come from the Celestials. So it's the same thing as Zeus and his two brothers.
Right.
They had to go kill their father, which was a
A god.
No, a Titan.
he was a Titan.
Well, oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were gods. He was a Titan.
Yep.
So that whole place thing. So that's just what I was trying to find was
Yeah.
the family tree because
And
this movie sucked.
The family tree doesn't split, Larry. It's a pretty bad tree.
I feel like
Straight up.
let's try to talk.
That's gonna be a problem.
Let's try to talk about the tough stuff. What did you like about the movie?
There was so here's the thing, right? Like
I thought the effects were great.
the
effects were great.
So when I go
I
when I
agree,
go
the
when I
effects
when
were
I go into
amazing.
these movies,
The poster art was awesome.
yeah,
Didn't have to watch the movie, just look at the poster art.
I thought the casting was okay too.
Oh yeah.
Castle wasn't bad.
It wasn't
I
bad.
liked
There's a lot
the,
of them,
like-
so it was hard to get behind them all. But yeah.
I liked the Indian human guy. I think that guy was great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was
Oh,
fantastic.
I like-
While looking at me,
Did
let's
you-
just call him the
he's like-
Indian human.
sidekick.
He's like, he's like,
Karan?
did you get the
Karan?
record? Did you get that?
His
And from
videographer,
across,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's his side guy. It's
Yeah.
it's his.
his
Yeah.
his friend.
So
his
he
dude.
played Kingo, Kumal.
Well,
John.
that's the.
He played Kingo.
No. Kingo's like,
guy.
what's his name?
His man Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about
Yeah,
talking
the
about
other
him.
guy. Yeah.
I thought you meant
his
Kingo.
valet.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
His valet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Karen.
That's it.
Karen. Harish
Yeah.
Patel.
So
Love that guy.
Yeah.
here's some of the things that I liked
A
about
little
this
comic
movie.
release in this otherwise
Yeah.
dark and depressing movie.
So here are some of the things that I liked about the movie. First and foremost, when I go into these movies, I'm very simple. I just want to be entertained. Just entertain me.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
the two
it's a
and a
Marvel
half
movie.
hours. I mean, it's a Marvel movie. It's superheroes.
I don't need a lot of thinking. in my
Right.
mind.
Like,
Yes.
I just want to be like, oh, well, that
Brain
was
head
cool.
empty.
I felt that it missed
with
a
popcorn.
lot of that, but some of the things I really liked were, like you said, the graphics were really cool. The storyline I didn't mind so much. The things I didn't like the stupid hand freezes and she figures it out how to stop it, and like you said, now you have this big protruding thing. Nobody's gonna see him.
Half a head
Nobody's
in the
gonna,
hand.
Yeah, nobody's gonna go, hey, that looks a little fucked up.
It's a little weird.
Like we should
I
go
know.
check that
What
out.
was going on
you
here?
saw at the end of the movie they had this whole news flash like we don't know where these statues came from.
Yeah.
How did they get there? Right?
You got something sticking out of the Pacific over here. Like, what's happening
There's
here?
a little discrepancy in the
a little
ocean
something
somewhere
over
Circumference of the Earth.
Yeah.
near this volcano.
Icarus turning bad. I saw that a mile away,
Yeah.
man.
He was kinda
I
pissy
measured
the whole
it 5
time.
minutes into the movie. I was like, oh yeah, Icarus, he's gonna be the villain.
he's gonna be the
5
villain.
minutes into the movie, I was like, oh, he's gonna be the villain.
Because he was like, oh, they killed Ajax. I'm like, nah, it's something sketchy because you just
Yeah.
popped up out of
But
nowhere.
when
Yeah.
he killed her, I had no feelings about it. Like
Yes,
I,
and you should
I
have.
did
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
When people
because she wasn't
died,
developed.
I had little to no.
Yeah, we didn't spend
for
a lot of
that.
time with Salma Hayek's character. Like, she was kind of off throughout the movie. Like, right, she kind of disappeared.
Yeah,
and
she
like,
disappeared, yeah.
So you didn't like. So okay, well, I have no
well,
attachment.
I
to this
didn't know why
character.
they all split.
We didn't go through any kind of story with her. Right?
Yeah.
Really, we didn't really spend much time to develop and get attached. So
Yeah.
fuck it, kill her
We're
off.
like,
Who cares?
oh no.
no,
she's dead.
No, no.
All that did for me was, oh, they can die. And then I'm like,
You know what I
okay.
did like? There were a couple things I did appreciate. I appreciate that they became like self-aware. Like, where did I come from? Oh my God. I'm not 7,000 millions of years old,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
created in a sort of robotic fashion. I wasn't like born on.
I wasn't born- right.
Olympus
Yeah.
or whatever it was. Like that was interesting. I think that's That's like there's a whole moral issue there, right?
Yeah.
And then
how they the team starts to split apart. Like,
Yeah.
like
Whether
are you
you
still
should save the
faithful or are you
planet.
like
Yes.
right.
like,
so
do-
that was
Or just
interesting.
do what they told us to do.
Moral dilemmas, right? Like so that I think
Many
was
over the
well
few, stuff like that.
written. My issue was like the story itself, the whole story, right, was kind of just like this is a bad premise. But I did like the moral dilemmas that they included in there. I thought.
I mean,
that was
the deviants actually, they play into it too. Like when like the head deviant, like he figures out
Yeah.
why he
I
was
wish,
like,
Yeah, but
I
he
wish
didn't-
they
that
did more
didn't
with
pay
the
off.
head deviant.
They didn't do anything with
oh,
him.
yeah. No, he died
Cersei
alone.
just kills him.
Yeah.
Athena
Tina,
just kills
they
him.
didn't
Yeah.
do anything.
That was so
with him.
disappointing. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, what happened? Like,
thought- Wasn't
they're,
even like a
they're
really good
sentient?
fight.
Like, who?
I thought he was going to be the big bad, but
Yeah.
he wasn't. He was just
No.
peripheral. at the
Or
end.
at
Yeah.
least,
And
or at
Athena's
least
like,
he'd
I'm
be an
gonna kill you off in
interesting.
a cave. And
Yeah.
it wasn't a great fight. It wasn't
No.
that great of a scene either.
Yeah.
Like she's pretty badass and greatest fighter, and
Yeah.
you're like, okay.
Athena, cool.
yeah, but
like,
Athena was also the
I
mad.
also don't think
which,
she was a good actress choice for that. She's not badass enough to me.
Yeah, it's Angelina Jolie. You kind of like threw
She's
her
a
in there
little
for
soft.
the name.
Yeah.
And
But
just,
did you need to in this one though?
well,
I don't think you needed to. If you're gonna use it for namesake, it's like
yeah, because you know
I don't
they
think
had
they needed to.
no.
I don't.
because,
You could have just gotten a really good badass woman because nobody else. I mean, people were going to see this regardless. I mean, they had Selma Hayek.
yeah.
Yeah,
Harrington,
yeah.
like, that
Selma
was, like,
Hayek
the
didn't
two-
Yeah.
fit.
Those are the
either.
two,
Right.
like, you know, really, and if you want to talk about names, the two in this movie beyond Angelina Jolie are Kit Harington, obviously.
Right.
Right,
Salma
yeah.
Hayek, like, those
Well,
are the two,
Who was
like,
in it
the
for like 30
draws.
seconds?
So,
Right.
well, here's the thing. You have the two guys that were in it.
He's
Kit
like
Harington
Dane Whitman. He wasn't even an Eternal.
No. He
So
was
you
a
have- you
human
have
that
Kit
was there
Harrington,
for like.
for God's sake, from Game of Thrones, and you don't make him one of the Eternals. Like, what the hell's
No,
wrong?
but
Well,
he's
the guy that
actually
played
supposed to be a
Icarus-
guy soon. He's actually going to be a
He is,
bigger, a
he's-
way
yeah,
bigger part.
He's playing the Black Knight.
Black Knight,
Yeah.
So the guy that played Icarus, Richard Madden, he
Yeah.
played Robb Stark in Game of Thrones.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
So it's kind of
That's
cool.
right, yeah.
But I think that, so going off of names, I think there was more hype about Harry Styles being in this fucking movie.
Where was he?
He was Euro, whatever the hell.
Oh, it was him. Oh my
That's Harry
gosh.
Styles, yeah.
Oh, I like zoned out or something.
Arrow
It's on,
says Arrow.
Because I saw afterwards that Harry Styles was in it, but I was like, oh,
But he
who
was in it for
he?
30 seconds.
Yeah, it was,
Oh, yeah.
it was a cutscene. So I mean,
Talk to me about the real quick the Blade reference you were talking about,
so
because I watched it again. I didn't see it.
at the end when he's looking at the sword,
Yeah.
right, and
Yeah.
and he's reading it, the voice that you
Yeah.
hear, he's
Yeah.
like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" That's supposed to be Blade.
No way.
There's rumors that
Oh
is
my
supposed to
God.
be Blade because you can tell by the. Somebody was like, if you listen to the voice and not watch it, you could tell that's
Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala Ali.
No
it's like,
way.
They're like, you could tell that that's his voice. So the idea is they kind of want to sort of play into the. What was the group that he was a part of? Him, Ghost Rider, Punisher.
Pre-MCU.
It's
Jeff knows what it is. Jeff from the Bleeding Edge. He was just talking about it.
the midnight. Somebody's gonna listen to this and remind us.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're trying to say that they're gonna play with that. So where Harrington's part is there, he's gonna be the Black Knight there.
Yeah.
They're gonna go off and fight demons and stuff like that because that's what that sword does. It kind of makes him go crazy anyway.
Right.
So that's why he's like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" Because he knows that the lore behind that sword is whoever wields the sword, they lose their shit. And they start to go mental. So that's kind of like his family curse.
Yeah.
That he was talking about. So there was a rumor, but that's they're gonna kind of play with that.
That
a
sounds
little bit.
really cool.
I know. Let's
That
see if
sounds
that
so
happens.
Do you think
sick.
they get a little Moon Knight in that action as well?
That's part of that story. So Moon Knight
That'd be
was
an
actually
interesting
part of
team
that
up.
group.
Right.
So
I
with
see, I
Moon Knight
heard-
coming out,
You know, I heard they're doing like part of him. He's got a new power where he like sees or hears like visions or sees visions or something like that. But it's a power that Moon Knight doesn't have in the comics.
Okay.
But they're adding it to
so
the
they're
show.
just gonna kind of develop him a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm throwing some extra in there.
I mean,
'cause
maybe.
maybe that helps out in these sort of supernatural,
Right.
Yeah.
world that they're going to create, right? Because they've had so much, right? And for the longest time, we had no magic, and then Doctor Strange comes in, and all of a sudden the MCU, the universe has magic all of a sudden.
Right.
And we have no mutants, and eventually we're going to have mutants.
And I think that, you know what? And I think that what's going to happen is they're taking it by sections.
Right.
It's like first we had the street guys and the tech, and now it's
a lot of science.
A lot of science. Now we're going to play into that magic and stuff like that. And
maybe the dark magic, so the dark,
which is going to be awesome.
Yeah, the chaos magic.
Yeah, because exactly, we got chaos magic now, and that's going to be massive in the whole multiverse of madness with Doctor Strange. Which, and it later seems like in the previews for that, I know we're kind of jumping to a different, better movie where they talked about it originally. It looked in the previews that Wanda helps him. But the later stuff looks like, no, she does not. If you look at some of the latest posters and things like that for it, she's not with him at all.
But
it starts out that way.
It does look like she starts there, though.
She starts there, but then at some point, I think it turns out that he has to stop her. Like, I think something goes on. So I'm really excited about it. Like, it looks into the latest.
I am so stoked about that because all of that sounds so cool to me. I'm like,
yeah absolutely.
Like Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange.
So going back to it, I would have liked to see Thena cast by some woman who
better.
could really pull the role off, right? Like Robin Wright, but she was one of the badass Amazons in Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Yeah, Robin Wright, she was awesome.
Or like Catherine Winnick from Vikings.
Yeah,
she was Largatha. She would have been badass in that role.
There's so many choices, and
there's so many good ones.
You picked the name.
You
went with the name.
Angelina doesn't.
And the reality is, so many.
She's a great actor, just not
doesn't have
as
that energy.
Because of where the MCU is, there's a lot of like named actors trying to get in.
And I think that's what
there's always stuff like they're gonna eventually they'll have The Rock in there. They're trying to get.
I'm surprised The Rock isn't in there. Oh wait, he's going to be in the DC.
Right?
Yeah, he's in Black Adam.
He's in DC, but eventually he'll jump the ship. Jump over to the other because they all do.
But he's done plenty of Disney movies, so he's already part of the Disney family.
Yeah, exactly. So he'll get on there eventually. What's his name? Keanu Reeves is they're talking about him coming in.
Yeah, for the last 15 years.
They're talking about him coming in.
I love Keanu Reeves, but I don't think he'd be a good fit. I don't know who
yeah,
would be.
everyone would look at him and probably go, "Hey, John Wick."
Yeah. The rumor was Namor.
Oh,
play Namor.
Oh no, I don't know who that is.
Oh, that would be.
He's the king. He's basically their Aquaman. He's the
essentially.
Yeah.
It's not going to be him. They've released to the.
Yeah, that was the rumor way back when.
Okay,
they'll get him in eventually. They'll get him. They have
Silver Surfer.
So is he?
that was another one. That was another one of the rumors.
They've already done Silver Surfer.
No, that was.
We
don't talk about those.
But it was a good representation of Silver Surfer.
Yes, that was a good representation. The movie sucked.
Yeah.
But
forget the movie.
That was the best Silver Surfer.
That incarnation of Silver Surfer was excellent.
Galactus sucked.
That was the only thing about that movie.
Galactus was stupid.
Well, that whole Final Fantasy, that whole Fantastic Four, the first one wasn't bad.
I liked the first one.
I did too.
Maybe that's just nostalgia talking.
I liked the first one was good because it was it didn't have a lot. I'm sorry, we didn't have we didn't have then what we have now as far as like the superhero movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like we had Blade, which was like, oh my god, that's awesome, we loved it.
Yeah, Blade's cool.
When Fantastic
Spider-Man
Four
and X-Men.
Yep.
We did have the X-Men, yeah. So it's like, all right, this is kind of cool.
It was a good implementation.
Yeah. Part 2, which was the Rise of the Silver Surfer, sucked. And then when they did the reboot, and then the other reboot, I was like, these are all bad.
Those sucked.
They were terrible.
Yeah.
But again, we still didn't have what we have now. Do you know what I mean? We didn't have much of, and Fox was still sticking around.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Thank God Disney bought them. As much as I don't really like that whole like corporation like being bought out kind of stuff because it creates a monopoly.
It's the monopoly,
Disney,
right?
Right.
That I'm okay with. In fact, I wish they would buy DC. So and just do shit right over on that end. But anyway, going back to the Eternals, I agree with you. There's a lot better people that could have been on there, and we threw Angelina Jolie in because everybody wants to be in it. Like everybody's trying to find.
I think it was more.
They're trying to find a movie for Tom Cruise to be in, and I don't want to.
I remember Brad Pitt was in the Deadpool 2 movie.
That's a rumor.
I can't stand him.
It's a rumor.
I don't have an issue with him, but I don't think he would fit.
Yeah, I think Tom Cruise needs to just. I don't know.
It's too big.
Retire.
Yeah.
So the rumor was about Tom Cruise is he was one of the names that they were looking at to play Iron Man before Robert Downey.
Yeah.
So now the newest rumor is
he'll come
I know what you're
back
gonna say.
as a reboot or something.
As the multiverse that they're gonna. It's like the multiverse. Tony Stark, and it's gonna be him.
I'd be happy with a cameo at best.
But
that's
a
lot
lot
of Tom Cruise. I can't stand his stupid face.
Yeah. But again, like you said, I mean, now it's like everybody wants to be a part of the MCU.
If you like hear anything about his behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
Not just his religious affiliation, which is a whole bullshit thing, but like even just him as a
He's
person.
wacky.
He's a wacky,
dude.
but he's an egotistical prick face. Like I can't stand that. Like, you're
Yeah.
one of the most popular. And I get it, but he's an asshat.
Although
Like, I
for
just
me,
don't.
this goes into my belief of I don't care about the actor outside of the movie or show.
Usually I don't either.
Because the thing is, I'm like, look, I just assume they're all assholes.
Yeah.
Like even if they wear a
they're
face
not.
of being nice,
But they're not
I'm
all.
like,
Look at Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll give
yeah,
that man
they're
my money all day.
I have a
even though the
tiny
Matrix
list
movie was
of people
bullshit.
who I'm like, I believe are probably good people.
Yeah.
Off screen, but I just assume all of them are
Fucking
assholes
hide it.
anyway. So
Like, if you're that much of an asshole, at least try to hide it. And he doesn't.
But if you
no.
make that much money, why would you want to hide it? You don't care what the
No,
world
because
thinks.
people keep going to see your
Because
bullshit
you're
movies.
Tom Cruise.
Exactly.
People are going to go see the new Top Gun in droves, right? I won't, but people will, and that's okay.
I will.
I don't think
I
he's an amazing actor. I don't mind him, but I don't think he would be a good fit for MCU. He's just too big.
he's too big, right?
Yeah, I see what you're
big
saying.
and
Yeah.
It's like
you almost
when
have to humble yourself a little bit to
Yeah.
get into one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
because
it's like-
it turns
it's
into a
like-
movie about you, not the movie about the movie.
It's like
That's what I
Brad
mean.
Pitt was in the Deadpool
You
movie
take
as the
over the
invisible
movies.
guy who shows up for half a second.
That
was
like his face shows up
awesome. Yeah.
half a second.
And he also, I
and
believe
dies.
he opted
Zapped
not.
because he lands in the electrical lines.
Yeah.
So like,
Oh,
it
And
turns
then
into
shot
that's
invisible
right,
again.
that's
Brad
right.
Pitt's
And
face,
I don't.
and then
I
he's
believe
gone.
he
He's
opted
gone.
not to take payment for that movie. He just
Yes.
wanted
Yeah,
a cameo.
he was like, "Hey,
yeah,
Meanwhile,
which is awesome.
meanwhile
right?
Yeah.
Tom Cruise did that for a half second. He'd want all the profits.
$20,000.
Yeah.
He'd want all the profits. No,
20,000.
20 million. For
He'd be
that
like, I'll
thing,
take
so.
Yeah.
15 million for my face for 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I faded off.
Which is why I
But
don't.
that's the thing. That's why
support his movies.
if the actor, in my opinion, if the actor's too big, then they take over the movie, and I don't think you want that. I
No,
think
you're
you
exactly
want-
right.
It
They don't.
becomes a
Smaller
Tom Cruise
actors.
movie. It becomes a Brad Pitt movie.
Yeah, you can
know?
get like lower A-list or B-list actors, and those are the guys that aren't too big to take a movie over. And then you can then like Robert Downey Jr. Right? He
Yeah.
was in the movie, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember him. I remember who he is or whatever. But he became Tony Stark, and you're like, oh, this is perfect. This guy was a great, good fit for this role.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a great comeback for him, by the way.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, come on.
Jesus.
He's born to play that.
yeah.
I mean,
We've
it might
talked about
be-
that before.
Yeah.
There's certain actors that are born to play the roles, right? Patrick
Yeah.
Stewart,
Yeah.
born to play Professor Xavier. There's
Ryan
certain people
Reynolds, Deadpool.
I mean,
that-
he just
like,
played
it's
himself.
almost like, did
Yeah,
he exist?
pretty
Did
much.
Deadpool exist before Ryan Reynolds? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It wasn't even on the map.
You know what I mean? But
Yep.
I mean, it's certainly a super popular character, but it's like
Not even- I mean,
know
not
what
even
Like,
that popular, right? It
You
wasn't-
wouldn't even think, but like the new iteration of Nick Fury was drawn to look like Samuel L. Jackson.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, shit, just have him do the role if he wants to do it.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know
And
what I
then
mean?
boom, you got like
and then
the
it's there,
best.
but like Deadpool
Nick Fury.
wasn't.
No.
Right, but it's just like
Yeah.
it just
It
happened.
just so
to work.
happened,
It just
right?
happened to work out that way.
Yeah.
And it's perfect.
I mean, I'm thinking of Robert Downey Jr.'s character in Back to School.
Yeah.
And just basically just a younger Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, I mean, he sort of played himself a little
You're
bit.
like the
right?
poster boy
his,
for birth control.
His development, his development of that character is essentially
Him.
a version of himself.
It's just grown up him.
Is that
So it's
your
like-
natural hair color? What do you think? I think you're trying to get back at your parents. That's what I think.
That's what I think.
Back
Go
to
watch
school.
the movie.
Robert
I will.
Downey
Put that on.
Jr.
Put that on
Wait,
the
which
list.
one? Which one?
Back to School.
Back to school. Robert Downey.
Don't
Robert
worry,
Downey
it's
Jr.
going on the list.
Rodney
Rodney Dangerfield.
Rodney Dangerfield. William
It's-
Zabka from Karate Kid. He plays the he's the foil.
He always plays
That same-
the bad, like the same character.
Yes.
Plays the same character in all like those 80s
He's the
movies.
swim
where
team
he's
guy.
Yeah, he's the
jock.
the jock
But
bad
the jock
guy.
in it, he's a swimmer. He's a high diver. Excuse me, he's a high diver. That's the kind of the premise. Rodney Dangerfield is like he was a high diver way back in his day, and he did the triple Lindy, and that's how he like, saves the fucking day. He's this like 60-year-old guy, like 70-year-old guy does the triple Lindy. This swim tournament was crazy.
Such an
Nice.
awesome bad movie.
It
But
really
Robert-
is a
I love
cheesy
awesome bad
80
movies.
bad
Those
But
movie,
are the
Robert Downey
best.
Jr. is in that movie.
But that's one of those movies I will watch that over and over
That was pretty
again.
good.
I think I might even have it on my iTunes. I don't remember, but I know. Oh my god, yeah. When
He's checking he's checking the wind?
because he adds the extra springboard. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god, you can't do that. Like he does the triple Lindy. It's insane. And it's just a slow motion of Rodney like like doing these backflips over the doing from one. He goes from one diving board.
It's your typical 80s, mid 80s movie.
Yeah.
you know?
Love that. I love that.
But yeah, so I mean, Robert Downey Jr. was in that, and he was a younger one, and he was in that. He was in The Pickup Artist.
I learned this in Europe. He's put his finger there. I learned this in Europe. He guts
And-
out the bread, just dumping everything in.
And you see Robert Downey Jr. kind of go down that 80s hole that a lot of those guys did.
Oh, yeah,
and
big
so
time.
Right, and he got involved, and it's no secret, the drugs and everything else like that, he basically just fell off the map.
Yeah.
He did a couple of other movies
Chaplin.
from then. Chaplin was a really good movie.
Love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
He did Chaplin.
I watched it every few years. I watched Chaplin
And
again.
what was the other one that he did with Jamie Foxx?
He did the Thunder movie there.
Tropical Thunder. Tropic Thunder.
No,
Tropic Thunder was
That was
much later.
prior to that. Anyway, you kind of see the emergence of Robert Downey Jr. a little bit better, like over the years.
Yeah.
And when he puts on that Tony Stark, and it was like, I remember when I was like, oh, okay, no. And he just became, and I was like, holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He nailed this role.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, but it also helps that it was a well-written movie,
Right.
well funded, and then it cast perfectly well. And he did an amazing job.
I mean, everybody in that
He
movie
really did.
was just great.
Yeah.
Everybody.
It was perfect.
It really was. It really was. All right.
No, now we just wish.
Hopefully they learned some of
I
that
was about to
using
say,
the
this
Eternals.
is about Eternals,
So
isn't
I was
it?
just about to roll into that. If they did the same thing with this Eternals movie, and again, like they got Angelina Jolie, they got Salma Hayek just for the name.
It felt rushed. It felt like they just kind of slapped it together. Like
Slow
not
and
a whole
rushed
lot
at
of
the same
care.
time.
It was slapped together. I mean,
Right?
the
Not a lot of
casting,
care.
I don't know, the casting, they took the time to I think, like Larry said, they just, well, like you were saying earlier, there's a bunch of guys who want to get into a movie, and they were like, all right, we can fit you in here and here.
Yeah.
And so
we
you
have
get
this
Salma
giant
Hayek.
cast. Well, what the hell? We got to put it with somebody, so get in there.
And so you get some people that don't really make sense in there. Like Selma doesn't strike me as that character, or Angelina there could have been better
They
casting
didn't
there.
own those characters.
Right,
No.
they didn't own those characters.
Yeah.
And then like, what was the deal with the fact that like Cersei's? I get the Cersei's ability eventually is what sort of saves the day.
Yeah.
But why did she have that ability to begin with? Why would she be given that special power? Why were they given such weirdo powers? Why wasn't
Because
it?
Why was the speedster one deaf too? I don't know. Like it's just a bunch of questions.
Why was she deaf?
Like why do
didn't
that?
make a
Why
lot of
make
sense.
Did they
why
explain
make
that? 'Cause I
Sprite?
don't remember.
No. Why make Sprite a kid? She asked herself, but like no one had any answer. Like I don't know.
Yeah, none of that
Sprite
made
was
any
supposed
sense.
to be a little fairy, I guess. I don't know. That was another thing.
No,
like
the mythology probably was built on her.
Yeah, I mean,
She
it's
wrote
like
it.
she wrote
probably
the
wrote it,
reason
yeah.
why.
like fairies didn't exist.
Yeah, why? I mean,
As a
it just doesn't
concept.
make a lot of sense as far as like why they were because they were literally built and created, right?
Right.
Why weren't they built and created as like all super strong, right? Why weren't they all adults? And why didn't they all have flying?
Yeah, why not
couldn't
build
they
them all like Icarus?
Yeah, why couldn't they all be indestructible like him? Because what's her name was literally stabbed. Cersei just a little knife, and she's like, oh, and I'm about to die.
How do you be eternal if you just get
How are you
stabbed
eternal
easy?
and die? Yes.
You've just been really
exactly.
fucking lucky for a long time.
What?
Nobody
Well,
stabbed
that's-
you.
well,
Like they're all mortal, very mortal.
Why aren't they impenetrable like Superman's
lucky.
skin? Right? I don't get that.
and
It's
the
weird.
robots
I
too.
did like the Superman reference in it, which is kind of strange
Yeah.
but funny at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Like weird but funny.
Yeah.
It's like I almost feel that each one of them got their own certain power to advance humankind, like in some way. Which I don't know. I'm
I hear
No,
you.
I think you're right. I
feasible.
think having certain powers, but going back to Bruce, the indestructible, they should all be, if they were Eternals, they would all be immortal.
okay. So wait, you just did that. You did Eternals in quotations.
Yeah.
Well, clearly they're not because
They could die.
what they could. Well, they're believed to be until they find out. Oh no. You're just a carbon copy of 100 of other things that we've already created.
Right.
So you can die. You're just a robot.
And
so
when you're gone, we're gonna make another one.
Right. They never were quote unquote Eternals.
Right.
They were just
Yeah.
built.
And don't mean nothing to me because I'm like another one look just like you.
Exactly.
Yeah, they were even
then
built
can
for
they-
Roll your
that.
eyes at me.
And he never explained, can he take the previous memories and put them back into a new robot? Probably.
Because he keeps the memories, doesn't he?
Yeah, he keeps
them
them
anyway.
memory. So I'm
to
guessing
study.
that they can.
Yeah, probably.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
So they essentially are eternal because you can make another one look just like them. Right, it's Icarus. You
Right.
could just make a new Icarus robot and put the memories back in.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I mean, so they
eternal
were
that way.
Yeah, he's eternal that way, but
Keeps
not
going on.
physically. Like
Right.
you
Yeah.
can die. So,
But
yeah.
if you're going to live on Earth for 7,000 years, you really got to be kind of impenetrable as far as your body, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
you got to make
You'd
sure
think
that
you'd be a little
you
more
don't get a
sturdy
random
than that.
stabby. What happens if you
How
happen
did you
to?
not know already?
What happened?
Yeah.
You get stuck in the Holocaust or something. All of a sudden, you're, it's not your
Wow.
fault. You tried to get out. I'm just saying, like,
We went
it's something
there.
you couldn't avoid is what I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
right? Let's say you're in Hiroshima as it goes. You get bombed. Like, if you're eternal, you got to be indestructible in some fashion, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you
Because
just
how did
kind of
you
got
last
lucky.
7,000 years?
You
It's
just
not
got
like
lucky.
this hasn't
Like
happened on
crazy.
other planets
or
before.
wait a minute,
Like they've
or-
seen it happen on other
Did
planets.
they last that long?
Stuff like
Right.
that.
So
Or did they keep plunking other ones down there without them even knowing it?
that's what I'm thinking. Is they're like, ooh,
No.
that robot just got smashed.
That's not
Let me snap the finger. Everybody like their own things pause. I'm just
Could be.
gonna put.
Could be.
There you go, back to normal. So maybe they just didn't know.
Game on.
Because you're right. Like
Game on. The car
how
went
do you-
by. We dropped another one
Right.
in. Game on.
Yeah,
And
so,
we go.
like, right, like you said, is how do you go on and not be able to foresee, or how do you live that long without knowing like things, or how to protect yourself?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Basically, there wasn't enough explanation for anything throughout this whole movie.
In a 2.5-hour movie, you think you get a little bit more explanation.
Yeah.
Well,
Instead, you're
what,
like,
you got-
here are
how
these
many characters?
dudes.
10? How many
Something
were
like
there?
that, yeah.
Like
There's
so many.
Too
8,
many.
roughly. I don't know.
But
I mean,
yeah.
2.5 is nowhere near enough.
But we did have
Yeah.
some exposition, right? Where we're in the house and we're trying to
Some.
get what's his Gilgamesh. We're trying to get him back. Not Gilgamesh. What was the other one? They're trying to get him back into play.
Which one?
The one that could do the mind control. Right?
Oh, Druig.
Druid, yeah. Which, all right, I don't understand.
No, Fastos. When they're trying to get Fastos back in. Remember, he's at the house.
Fest-
and
yeah,
and
Festus,
he's with he's married or whatever to that guy.
Oh,
and he's got the kid.
yeah.
And he's
yeah.
like, no, I'm just doing home dad thing. Like, I don't want to be part
He's
of your
like,
bullshit
I'm all,
anymore.
yeah.
And like, yeah, you don't have much of a choice. Kid, let's go.
Yeah.
Put your shit on it. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then they try.
And
to
then his husband's like, yeah, no, just go. And he goes,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, they try to guilt trip him, like, oh, you gave them technology, and you
Peer
try
pressure.
to, you made, you sped up the technology they weren't ready for it, and look what they did. They're destroying their own planet and
Yeah.
destroying their own land. And that's where the whole Druid thing. Yeah, there was
It's a hot mess.
I was hoping Druig
I mean,
would be
it's
a way more interesting character.
not-
But the fact that he went from like a manipulative cult leader to like, oh, you know what? I'm chill now. And just like, he's like, all right, catch y'all later. See ya.
His whole plot line didn't really make a lot of
His
sense
whole
to me.
plot line was a
Like-
mess.
Yeah, it was almost like it was written by two different people, right? Where the first guy
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
"Here's my take," and then
I'll take it from here.
Then that guy left or something, and then the next guy's
He
like,
went
"Let me
up
just
for
finish
coffee.
this off."
Yeah.
Hey,
He's
you do
like,
this, will you?
He's like, oh, the dude quit. He hated the movie so much.
Yeah.
Let me just.
you know what? I
No
don't know if
context.
I don't know if we said it online or off, but this would be a great Disney Plus where you can
Yeah.
develop
Yeah,
each
this was in
character
the
a little bit.
Yeah.
We said it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right.
It would be such. It would be
Even
a
a couple of
great
seasons,
show.
you know what I mean? Like, really.
It would be a phenomenal show.
Yeah, I think it would be.
You could do this over like 4 or 5 seasons, where
Absolutely.
that builds
Yeah.
up.
There's
to
so many characters, and
the
almost every
emergence.
season can be centered around one character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or one or
honestly.
two characters.
And it could be a
this-
great show.
This is, Fastos' story. This is Ajax's story. This is Thena's
And then you
story.
start to care about them a little
Yeah,
bit.
Yeah.
exactly. You know?
Yeah, give them
Where
all
you
actual
have
a little
everybody
bit
in
more
each
depth
season
than the
but you
shallow end of a pool.
Yeah, you highlight each character in the season, or one or two.
And then their
characters
moral
in the season.
dilemmas are heavier because you feel
Yeah.
like, wow, this I know this person, and now I know what they're struggling with. And
I
it
mean,
makes
that's
more
Yeah.
what they did with that show Heroes back in the day.
Yes.
You know,
Right.
It was
so it's-
exactly that.
That's exactly what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
giant
Yeah.
cast,
There's
but they had seasons of
huge
show
cast,
to go over it all.
catastrophic finish.
Yeah.
And then, but they took it over. How many? With a couple seasons,
I
right?
think it was like
Yeah.
4 seasons or something like
Yeah,
that.
something
But again, I mean, you like you said, you break it down like a couple of episodes surrounds
Yeah.
these characters and these
Right.
characters. I mean, there was no payoff here,
There was
and it
nothing.
sucked.
It
Like
wasn't.
even the final, like even like the sneaky end credit scenes, there was no payoff there.
Nope.
We thought that after we saw Shang-Chi, wow.
Oh,
with the rings, we
rings.
thought that something in here was
Would
gonna
kinda tie it to it.
I thought
and it
that would
didn't.
tie in.
Not
I was like,
tied at all.
this kind
Not
of reminds me of
tied.
Shang-Chi. I wonder if that's going to
It
come
had
up
been out there
anywhere.
on the web that people thought it was
Nope.
going to.
No,
That's
this
kind
was
of where we got it
straight-
from.
I was like,
One
wow.
movie on its own. This movie could sit on its own. It doesn't tie to anything else. Like it starts and it wraps itself up. I feel like this is just.
If you wanted to, you could just pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably what we're gonna do.
Wouldn't be the first time.
But yeah, exactly. But and we could do that, right? But at some point they're gonna tie it in. Right, they'll have to tie it back to, you know what I mean? Because they're
Well,
not gonna,
I think the biggest
they're
thing would
not
be
just
with
going to let a movie
Shang-Chi.
sit out there and float by itself and not tie it back to the MCU.
Yeah.
Right. We know Thanos' brother's there, and we have all that stuff, and like you said, the Blade stuff. But I don't know. We're supposed to get another one. Nobody's asking
know.
for it.
I
It's a
don't
movie
know
nobody
why.
asked
No
for
one
it.
wants it.
Nobody
Yeah,
asked for it.
what do
Nobody
you-
Unless
wants
they're
it.
gonna make the second one actually just be the show, that'd be great. But
I mean, that's what they could do is turn the second
Yeah.
version instead of having a
but
movie,
no,
make it a show.
no, it's too late now. They're definitely just gonna make a second movie.
Well,
But, like,
be what it is.
Well, I was trying to remember, like, how do they end it? It's,
Wrap it up and throw it away.
well, because
they end it by looking for
They're looking for them.
for the ones that their own that are missing, right?
Yeah.
But they're also looking for other ones as well,
Right.
And that's where he was like, "Haha, I'm one of you, and we're gonna go find some more of us. Let's
Yes, and then
Yeah, but, like,
the
who
eternal,
kinda-
the actual Celestial itself. I forget his name. He's
Big
gonna what's that?
Big guy.
Big guy, the big red guy with the multiple eyes. He's gonna come find them because he's pissed off.
Right.
That they stopped the
That they
the
stopped
creation of
the
the
new one.
new Celestial.
Yeah.
So like that'll be a problem in the
It's like,
second
how did
one.
you
They have
guys
to
get
go
there
past
was
actually
no-
7,000
fight
years
It's like you
ago? I
said, there's
told
no
you not
payoff,
to.
right?
No,
Like,
yeah.
I don't care. Like,
Yeah,
he's like,
it's-
let's go find more. When
yeah.
in the cutscene, I was like, yeah, what?
Why?
More of the
Yeah,
exact
the biggest thing-
lifeless,
And what's with the-
nondescript
The
people I don't
biggest
care about.
thing
Drunken
that I noticed while
leprechaun?
watching this.
What the hell was that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What the hell was that drunken ass leprechaun at the end of the cutscene?
That.
Why did they
so-
throw that shit in there? Who is that?
Well, he's a character from the comics. He has got backstory on it, so it was
Yeah.
a.
Oh my
We'll see him
God.
later.
But
I'm
you know,
sure.
like the Eternals, you don't know much about him, and neither do I. Straight up honest about it, I don't really know, and nor do I care. Being just a cut, it wasn't a great cutscene. It was not a great after credit scene.
No.
Right. The brief part with the sword was better. Whether
Yeah.
you know about it or not, it's still a better thing that's going to bring out more. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This just sets up the second movie. That just set up the second movie.
Yeah,
And
but
then we don't
Which,
even want-
second
and
movie-
that's part of what you don't care about. Like, I don't care if there's a second movie,
don't-
so I don't need a cutscene.
yeah, I
that's
don't
going to
care
introduce
about
the second
that.
movie.
I don't care about the new Celestial that showed up. Like, there's just no buy-in. There's no.
There's
Yeah,
nothing.
I honestly found myself watching this. I'm like, you know what? Wouldn't it be great if honestly they lost Icarus 1 and then the whole planet just blew up? I think that'd be pretty interesting right now.
That would
Like
be
honestly,
awesome. That would have been awesome.
Like while they're doing the fight, I'm like, I'm kind of hoping they destroy the Earth.
So
'Cause that's the
here's
only
here's
thing
the
that'd be
issue I
interesting at
have
this
with that.
point.
Whenever you have a movie that does this, whether it's universe or global destruction, global problem, and none of the other characters show up, like, where the fuck is Doctor Strange doing? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just dicking around the sanctum. I guess there's nothing really happening out there. Oh shit, what's that? You don't see any of that stuff. Like,
Well, they
You'd
might
think
not
you'd
have
have
known.
a
Like,
magic
are ya?
detector going, hey, the Earth's core
From the
is
minute
unstable.
that the Celestial began to emerge to when they fixed it was probably a matter of minutes, right?
Sure,
in the
sure,
movie,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
So there's no time for like the Avengers to assemble or anything
Right.
like that. So I get why they weren't there, but this movie just had no. It just doesn't fit.
Yes.
Right. I take it back. What I thought you were going to say was when you have a global issue, you know it's going to solve because nobody's going to
well,
blow
yeah,
up
they can't
the
just
Earth.
blow up the Earth, right?
Yeah.
But
With their Space 22 space modulator, I'm going to blow up the
but
Earth.
that's why.
Great. Thanks, Marvin.
Remember in the Infinity game, Infinity Endgame,
Yeah, in Endgame, yeah.
the one right before that when Thanos snapped his fingers.
Yeah.
That's why that snap was like the snapper heard around the world, right? Like
Yeah.
everybody was like,
In the
they
theaters?
did it!
Yeah,
they
everyone-
killed half the population.
Yeah, everyone in the theaters
Oh,
was
shit,
dead
a
silent
plane
when
just
that
would fall
happened.
from the
It
sky.
was amazing.
Yeah, literally,
I was like,
we were
no
like,
way they just
"Oh my
pulled
god,
that."
the bad guy won!"
Yes,
right?
yes.
And I was like,
an Empire
"Yes!"
That was one of my
You
favorite-
never see that.
That's the Empire moment.
I would have loved.
I've loved that
if
movie for that.
they had the, if like for a split second when Icarus was fighting them, I was like, oh, please just win and put an end to this dumpster fire. Let's just kill
So I
this whole
wasn't
thing.
alone.
Let's just kill this
I
whole
was like-
thing.
I
And the
was like,
movie.
you know
have a
what?
reason to have a second movie.
But there's no buy-in because you know
Let the
the Earth
Celestial
isn't going to
emerge.
die. You know the
Well,
Earth isn't going
because
to.
you can't. Even if you did it and then had a second movie where it somehow brings it back, it's going to be a while before that movie comes out, and you're going to have like 14 other movies that take place on Earth.
Yeah.
Like,
Hopefully.
well, you know
And
what I
you're
mean?
like- and you're like,
You got
Earth
Doctor
exploded.
Strange
There's gonna be other
coming.
movies.
You have Doctor Strange coming. You have all these other movies that are coming out and shows or whatever that take place on Earth. Like, so what happened?
You know what?
You know
If
what I
there
mean?
was such a thing as a filler movie, this is it. This is a filler movie.
It was a filler movie during a pandemic.
I didn't
that
know you
gets
could
us
possibly
to-
do that, but they
This
did
is a
it.
filler movie that got us to Spider-Man, that gets us to the new shows, that gets us to Doctor Strange. Like, that's all
Yeah.
it was.
I'm
Just
looking
a
forward to Doctor
bone to
Strange.
feed us, you know?
Yeah,
Just
but you
a-
know what though?
I don't want a filler movie on a,
well,
a
Neither do
movie
I.
that go
Here's
on.
the
Like,
thing,
it wasn't
though.
good.
We're saying that was a filler movie. It was a bridge movie to get us to the next movies that were coming out. All those movies that you just mentioned, I watched before I watched this one.
Me too.
So
I
Same.
watched Spider-Man
Yep.
before I saw Eternals.
right. So
Yeah.
that being said, I didn't need Eternals
No.
because I just watched
one
it.
did.
Nobody
Like,
asked for.
like I remember when it came out. You and I we were talking. It says, "Oh, you're gonna go to the theater or you're gonna wait." So I think I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait for it to be free on Disney Plus because I already pay for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna wait for it to stream, and I'm glad I waited.
Yep.
I'm glad I streamed it, and I could have done without it. Like it didn't help me get to the next movie because, like I said,
So did everybody watch it in one sitting? Because I did not.
Eternals?
Yes, I did.
I
did.
I woke
fell
up this
asleep?
morning.
I
I was
did.
like, oh, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
so
I
I
saw it
watched
this
it.
morning.
Yeah, I watched it this
Fresh
morning,
in
and
the
I was
mind.
like,
I fell asleep.
I was like,
and had to
great.
turn
I didn't
it
think
on.
How
it, I didn't
lame.
think it was boring. I thought it was there was enough action and it moved well
Yeah.
for me. I just thought the story wasn't well done.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I
same.
was hoping for more character development. You can't do that in 2.5 hours. So, but I was hoping
No,
for
that many
15 characters.
yeah. So I didn't
Yeah.
really care enough about them. But I was also hoping for like. I really think they could have blown this up into 2 or 3 movies. Even like you could
Yeah.
have
Oh,
could
yeah.
have done smaller sub problems.
Eternals, part 1.
And so yeah, right. So like
Of 3.
they should have
or
written something where it's not like the emergence of a goddamn creature from the earth that destroys the earth because it's it's never going to win, right? Like dude, you can't just destroy the earth and be like we'll keep
Yeah.
making movies.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no
So-
reality.
Unless
There's
it's
no
a
stakes.
standalone
Thanos
movie that
was-
has nothing to do
Thanos
with the
was
MCU.
good.
Stakes in it because they
Because
can't.
he's like, I'm just going to kill half the people, but the earth will still be here.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
they should have done something else. Like the big bad problem should have been something different, something that you could be like, oh, maybe it will happen, right? Because now we know the MCU is okay with killing half the people in the universe, right?
Yeah.
So
They're
that
not going to destroy the whole Earth.
you can't destroy
do
the
that.
planet, so there's no
yeah.
buy-in. So there should have been a different.
No,
big
you
bad
can destroy the
problem.
planet and have some way where it comes back, right? Like that.
But
that's
but
shit
that would
happens.
be even
I mean,
worse.
wow.
Yes.
Is if the Earth came back.
Yeah, yeah. Let's say that
If
happened.
you're going to destroy the
and
Earth,
they're like, we're
destroy
gonna
it
have
for
somebody
good.
Well, look at What
Snap
If.
it
Like
back
they did that kind
into
of shit in What
existence.
If. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But like my bigger struggle is still like you tried to kill the Earth and you just left that thing sticking out of it.
Yeah,
Oh
it was
yeah,
terrible.
That doesn't work.
terrible.
Even if you, I would have been better if they killed
So-
it, they blew it up and blew it back again.
So wait a minute.
Oh, it's back because it's all magic, right?
Yeah,
it's all
yeah.
So the way-
magic. You
the
have
way- the
magic.
way that
The
they
magic can
depict-
destroy the Earth. The magic can bring it back.
You could reverse time.
Yeah,
right.
you just
Yeah.
left this
Yeah.
thing hanging off.
Or at least if you
So
even
wait a
had,
minute.
Yeah.
the way that they depict it is this thing comes from the center of the earth and it literally rips itself. It rips from the inside out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like an egg.
Like an egg, right? So not this thing's like kind of protruding through. Does that mean that the earth itself is kind of like half cracked?
It's a little hollow.
Should. It's a
little
All of the
hollow.
molten
Or
lava
did- or
in the
did it
middle of the
just-
earth became
right.
the celestial and
Should
is
be
now
screwed
crawling
up
out of the
by
earth.
now.
So, but
but-
it's
So
like,
everything's wrong.
Did the earth just kind of hail itself around this thing?
Yeah, it might even be
This
semi-hollow.
giant thing is just still in the earth, displacing
So it's
everything.
like there's like a
But-
big
None of it
slab on the
works.
earth.
I mean, if the
displacement
next
doesn't
movie,
exist here. So
if the next movie isn't just a 2-hour film of the earth slowly wobbling out of its orbit or slowly getting away from the
Eternals are
sun,
trying to push the thing back to fucking the earth to patch it down and
Yeah.
fix it.
Then I'm gonna be
sorry.
pissed.
That's
Just
why.
fix it.
That's why when they were talking about like using Druid to just like put it to sleep, I was like, dude, this will like solve all the problems. And then when it was like, nah, he can't do it. We're gonna have to make it hatch. And then and I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
What?
they also didn't have time to explain what the Unibrain did. They didn't really go into like why
was-
that
it
would
was
be.
like,
They're
so
like,
their
it'll make them super
powers-
powerful.
It was a little
what?
bit. It was a little bit ex machina. They were just like,
It is a
we're
little-
just gonna have this thing. Oh, it works, and they amplified her power.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Then why not amplify someone else's power that like. I don't know, amplify Icarus's power and he could punch it to death or something. You know what I'm saying? Some
Because
real-
Icarus was a bad guy.
But at that point, he
I-
just
But yeah,
wanted
that's
it to happen.
Yeah, that's why like the initial thing was going to be with like Druid, like making it go back, like convincing it to just stay there for a lot longer.
That it
which
wasn't quote
would've-
unquote ready to come out. Or
You're not ready.
whatever.
Yeah.
You stay. You
right?
stay.
But then they were like, nah.
Sleepy
No,
time.
no, no, no.
Sleepy time. Go sleep.
Yeah.
Go
Sleepy
sleep.
time. Just let
Rockabye,
it happen,
rockabye,
kid. Let it happen.
Sleep time. It's okay. It's okay.
Hey, shh, it's okay, it's okay.
It just sucks. I think that
Just
everybody.
smell it a little. Just smell a little.
Then they were like, nah, but Cersei's like the main character.
It's okay.
So
You like it. You like it. You like
know.
it. Now just smell a little.
It could have been really good.
It could have been
the
so much
concept
better. I
of
think everybody
Eternals-
wanted to
it's
be better.
such a
That's a good
cool
one.
concept.
Yeah. They
Just
could have
again
been.
poorly executed.
Why not go back to like 2000 BC and have this whole thing be set then, right? And have it be like how they impact, I don't know, some other catastrophe that they saved. And then all of a sudden, turn the results of that into like the Sphinx and or like the that's where the pyramids came from because of this other conflict.
Cronus eating
that
his sons or
great.
something like that. Just one of those Greek stories,
Yeah. Yes.
That when you do that, you can make multiple movies because it just takes place over time.
Because you just take all the things that happened.
This, and now the next one is them.
Yeah.
This is what happened at the gardens in Babylon. This is how we created the Eternals were there when the pyramids were made. The Eternals were there.
They kind of do touch on those though.
Yeah, but they didn't make a movie out of it.
The fact that their names connect to that, I think, is really cool. Like Festus is Hephaestus, which is like the god of the smithing. Which makes a lot of sense, right?
They're all that they created the Greek mythos essentially.
And Athena's Athena, goddess of war and warfare.
There's no way.
There's no A. I mean, look, I think that we all agree that this would have been a much better movie
if it was series.
If it was broken down into 2-3 movies, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Or made into a series.
Or made into a series, right? Like if they broke down this movie, I think that they would have more time to develop. And don't give me that, because of COVID times, you shove that right up your ass. Right?
I was just about to say
that's
that.
Not good enough.
That's a you problem.
At this point, that's not good enough.
That is a you problem.
That's 100% a you problem.
Figure it out.
Right, thank you.
You're Disney. Figure it out.
My God, this movie had so much potential, and I think that everybody kind of wanted to have potential. It failed miserably, and then you hope you watch the end credit scenes because that's what you're supposed to do nowadays.
Sure.
And you didn't even give me anything on the end credits. Like
nothing good. No,
really.
A potential of something cool,
right? Like a maybe potential, possibly something. Yeah. I think, but I have to go online to actually confirm it or not. Like, oh, okay, so I did confirm that voice that you hear is Blade. Cool. I get to look forward to Blade, but I had to go online to see that. I didn't get that direct connection through the movie.
But don't you kind of have to do that all the way
That's a lot of times. Yeah, a lot of movies in those little things, you're like, oh, what you don't know is that voice was Blade.
No, but
but a lot of those
kind of that way. Like this whole movie is like, I don't get any of these fucking people who are.
But a lot of those movies though, with the end credits, they give you enough that you can
start to put it together.
Oh,
maybe
that's
this was
what
that
they.
thing.
Yeah.
This
is where they're going
with that. We knew
about
Thanos like 15 years ago. Like at the beginning of all this, we knew Thanos was coming.
Yeah.
Because
see, they put him in a cutscene.
In a cutscene, right? And it's like,
and I'm sorry, a much better visualization.
Oh God, yeah,
than what we actually got with Josh Brolin.
Yes.
That first one, he turns around and smiles at the camera. Was a much better looking Thanos than Josh Brolin. Now, Josh Brolin, his performance was amazing. Take nothing away from that.
I don't have any issues with the visualization.
Neither do I.
I don't think it was
bad.
I don't think it was bad. I think what they gave us to that first one was better.
He was darker, it was more purple.
Yeah, he looks more like a comic character.
Again, he's lighter now because he's older.
Because he's a little older. He ain't that much older. There's not much that. It's like 10 years. There's not that much time difference.
It's because aliens, they might be built different.
Larry gave me that bullshit that he's older. Stick that right up your ass. He's older. Ken Bean's older, so he's lighter.
I think I'm happy with the way they evolved him. I don't have any issues.
Same here.
Yeah, I don't. I hear you.
I have no problem with the character. I have no problem with the character. I have no problem with Josh Brolin. I love Josh Brolin's performance.
Yeah.
Just on a visual sense. Yeah, it's like how many versions of the Hulk have we seen?
Yeah.
Which one's your favorite? Like which ones do you think looks more like the Hulk?
I like
that you
Banner.
know?
Be honest with you, Eric Bana's.
I like
version.
Ferrigno.
Yes,
I think that one was
that's a Wayback Machine. I like it.
I'm not gonna hate on Milo for this one because
No, come on, you gotta love that one. That poor bastard had to sit in like a trailer with his hands out while they kept him cold. They had to like refrigerate him in between scenes basically because that shit would just run.
Because it would run.
So you just like sit there like those cable machines. Yep. Like just holding on to like son of a bitch.
I saw an image and they they zoomed in on his feet. And
he's
one of the
shoes.
He's wearing shoes.
Yeah, he's like wearing.
They look like
shoes,
Crocs.
Yeah, like Crocs, like ballet slippers almost.
Are those?
Yeah.
Oh.
He
it was the 70s.
Wasn't running around anywhere barefooted, which he should have. But you're running around outside.
At least wear
like
ballet shoes or something.
You can't have an actor do that. They've been bitching and complaining constantly.
But it was
and they never once
used
used the phrase "Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry." In the newer ones.
Oh yeah. No, they did.
Oh yeah.
And
you're right.
I'm disappointed by that.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you. I would love to have seen that.
In the Ed Norton one?
I was about to say, did Ed Norton's
think
Hulk
so.
say that? I think he might have.
Maybe.
I think he did.
Or maybe they don't use the whole phrase,
Yeah.
but maybe they
Yeah.
reference
Yeah,
like words here and there.
paraphrase.
Like so it's not the actual.
They're like, haha, you know the saying.
Yeah.
yeah. You know,
Kind of
who
like,
you gonna-
I was
who you
just
gonna
gonna say,
call?
who you gonna call? Yeah.
Or like Captain America going, Avengers. And then the movie cuts out.
Finally got him to say it in the last one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really good. No, I'm with you. There's a lot of that. We see a lot of that. Like you
Yeah.
want to get a little bit more. We get a little bit more of that in there. When you pull that and reference in. Hey, you never know, right? Ferrigno's still around. We got multiverse. You
Oh my
never
God.
know.
Oh my
You see
God,
a little
multiverse
Ferrigno.
Ferrigno Hulk.
Hey, if
Oh my God.
Michael
He wasn't his cameo.
Listen,
He did a cameo.
He's
If
not nearly
Michael
as big as he
Keaton-
was then.
no, he's
So
if
I don't know
Michael
if that would work.
Keaton
Old Hulk.
can be Batman,
That's right.
Lou Ferrigno can be the Hulk.
That's right.
Hell
He
yeah.
can be
Oh my
like,
God.
let's say,
That'd be awesome.
like, elderly, old age Hulk.
Oh, great. He's gonna be half white.
Yeah.
He's gonna lose pigmentation.
It's-
No,
he's
she's
gonna
gonna be
get
lighter
lighter.
green.
He was
He's gonna
Lighter
get
green.
lighter.
Lighter
He's
green.
older.
You know?
He got a lighter green color.
Lighter
much
green.
lighter green.
A little bit of a pot belly.
It's like sea foam. He's like very light now.
Listen,
Now we gotta look up a picture of what
one of
Lou
the
Ferrigno
weakest
looks like right now.
excuses.
And then
I've
picture
ever-
him green with
actually
like
probably
bad
He does actually still
Photoshop.
look. He's still like working out and training people. Yeah, he's pretty good.
That's good to see.
Yeah, no, totally. But anyway, so there's Eternals,
yeah,
ladies and
he's-
gentlemen.
yeah,
Just 2.5 hour
There's
dumpster
that.
fire.
a lot of messes, man. A lot of
misses in
messes.
this movie, unfortunately.
Just misses.
Felt
the
rushed. It
movie.
felt like they tried to jam too much into a small box.
COVID, man. It's
10
COVID.
pound of
It's insane.
shit in a 5-pound hat.
That's right.
They rushed it. They could have been really good. I think
Yeah.
the concept is good. The idea of Eternals was great.
The COVID restrictions. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you and your COVID restrictions.
It's the COVID restrictions.
Well, because of COVID.
The COVID.
Poking the bear. You're
The
poking the
fucking
bear.
hill I'm dying on.
That's the hill. That's the hill.
That's my hill. baby.
That's all you can do to like justify it.
That's
It's like
definitely-
it's the.
like,
How else do you
because of
justify
COVID.
that dumpster fire?
Dude,
I'm
I don't
sorry.
think you can.
So unfortunate.
It is
Could have been.
unfortunate.
It could have been good.
It could have
Could've
been
been.
good. So how many
Coulda,
mics
shoulda,
are we giving Eternals? I'm taking my mics and going home.
I'll do a 1
I'll do a 1.5.
because I liked because I liked a couple of things.
I'm gonna give
about
it a 2. I thought
Give it a
it
2?
Yeah.
could have been.
I think I'm with Bruno. I'm going to give it a 2.
Could have been worse.
Oh, shit, yeah.
You know what? I'll bump it a half. I'll bump it a half.
I think it was worse at times, but I'm
we
going
should watch it. I'm
to
sticking on mine.
I'm gonna give it a 2. One, because visually, I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
Oh my
It
gosh.
is beautiful.
Like
Yeah,
honestly, like the
yeah.
the
Oh my
deviants were
God.
awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
the
that was
deviants,
really
the magic
cool.
used,
Yeah.
gorgeous.
It kind of actually reminded me a lot of Avatar.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the creatures that were drawn
Oh,
or created for
yeah.
Avatar.
Oh my God,
It
yeah.
really
I could see
reminded
that.
me
I could see what you're
of
saying,
those
yeah.
kind of creatures,
Yeah.
right? So
I'd be
that
surprised
was
if
really
they didn't
cool.
take that for reference for a couple of
Sure.
creatures.
I don't know what James Cameron would say to that, but because he'd want to make money. But
Yeah.
I mean, like visually, it was really cool.
Yeah.
Storyline, it was just there. It was almost like just the tip. Like it could have gotten more. So I mean, it was all right. Well, is it rewatchable? No,
Just the tip.
just the tip.
Didn't go all the way to the balls. It's just the tip. So you get-
See, I didn't want to
I
go
was
there.
like, I was like, oh.
Wait, so this is definitely.
I knew where you were going, Larry. It's all
I
right.
know, but listen, let the money go.
That's all
It's
right.
definitely getting the rated R on the rating.
I don't know. I haven't been able to change the
I know,
explicit rating
right?
on our show ever. The many times I've clicked this is an explicit show, it still won't show up on Apple iTunes, Apple Podcasts.
Oh.
It's explicit.
You have to talk to
This-
somebody.
Yeah, somebody must be losing their mind out there. My kid's listening to this.
Yeah, so 2 mics. I give it
2 mics. 2 mics.
And I'm
Bruno,
okay
2
with the
mics
2.
Larry. Did you jump it up to 2 mics now?
No, oh no.
Oh, you still 1.5?
No, I'm 1.5.
All right,
yeah.
1.5 from me,
Because
1.5
I just
from you.
there's some stuff I appreciated about it, but it was just I don't know.
Just not
It's
enough.
I'm probably gonna forget about it in a week. The entire movie will be
It's
forgotten.
definitely a movie I have no plans of going back to rewatch.
I was just saying that, like, it's not rewatchable
It's
for
pretty
me.
forgettable.
I don't care for
unfortunately.
it.
I've seen it.
Yep.
I understand it. I know what happens.
Yep. Watching
I get it.
some
I
cool
was
stuff,
hoping-
cool concepts.
I
but
think the concepts
I'm
are
gonna
so
forget
good. I was
about it.
hoping for more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody.
just a letdown.
A letdown. There it is. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bruno.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mila.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right, thanks everybody for listening. Again, we're Entertainment Rants and at entertainmentrants.com. Please check us out on our social media, Entertainment Rants, and on Twitter at Entertain Rants. If you'd like us to podcast about something, and we'll try to stick to that topic as much as possible, feel free to engage with us at engage@entertainmentrants.com. All right, again, thank you everybody, and hashtag Let's Rant.